Welcome to Insights with Thomas Caldwell on Thursday, October the 2nd, 2025. Tom, you and I were talking yesterday about the Simon and Garfunkel song, The Sound of Silence. Could you please elaborate on this?
Well, I like the song. I mean, that's a starting point. I was thinking of it vis-a-vis our governments. You know, there's lots of traveling around and having meetings, Mexico, Europe, England, whatever, memorandums of understanding. But no one's really communicating the real issues at hand. We have old thinking, old ways of coming at the problem. Let's have some more government programs. Let's have some more big projects. And, you know, I've been thinking about recently that maybe Trump isn't the enemy. He's the catalyst for change. Maybe the enemy is our governments at all three levels. I mean, quite frankly, Mr. Carney can get this economy going with one simple thing. I'm going to cut taxes. I personally pay the majority of my income in taxes, period. And it's getting ridiculous. So the real issues at hand can be dealt with. The answer is not in Mexico. It's not in Europe. It's not in England. It's here in Canada. We have to change our paradigm at all three levels. We have to develop policies for people who are contributing to the growth of the economy, whether that be people going to work every day to do their jobs, entrepreneurs, whatever. And we're off in these big projects. You know, we're going to have these pipelines. Well, we decide on pipelines today, they'll be built within 5 to 10 years. Similarly, province of Ontario, they're tied to the Ring of Fire. We've been talking about that for 30 years now. And you know, the city of Toronto, the city of Toronto is a joke. I mean, it's coming in on itself. You can see that 50% of the restaurants in Toronto don't make money. But there's a simple truism. Ease of transportation and economic growth go together. If you hamper one, you will hamper the other. That's basic. And by the way, riding a bicycle is not an inalienable constitutional right, period. That's how it's being quoted. So we have governments working on old solutions that don't work, or old social experiments that don't seem to be working. Three basic things, and they can do it fairly simply. Start cutting taxes, period. Cutting the insane level of regulation that we have at all levels in every area of the country, including in the capital markets. There is no Canadian capital market for new enterprise. It doesn't exist. We've regulated out of existence. And even right down to the municipal levels, start having policy. You're not a social welfare agency. You're to run a city. Safety, cleanliness, transportation, that kind of stuff. I was laughing. The Eglinton Crosstown Expressway or Crosstown Light Rapid Transit, that has now taken longer than it's taken to build the Trans-Canada Railroad, which was built with picks and shovels. I mean, this is a joke. We need proper people that are running and realizing what their mandate is. And, you know, these aren't rocket science stuff. Anybody that you stop in the street with a job is going to tell you what the problems are. But these guys aren't listening. They're silent. They're out in Never Land, wanting to have big ribbon-cutting ceremonies and look at what I've done for you. And all three levels of government are responsible for this. So we need a change in our thinking. Let's have some policies that work for people who are working, period. I know I sound like NDP there, but we've got to start thinking about economic growth. If you do that right, everything else falls into place.
Okay, so let's move on now, because...
Here endeth the lesson.
Now, you're constantly asked this one question, and I want to ask you what you think about this question that people are constantly asking you. The question is, what do you think about the markets?
Well, typically the answer is I don't own the market. My job is not to buy the market. I don't trade an exchange-traded fund or an index-based product. My job is to look for opportunities within the market. And that's really where the money is. Let me give you a couple of examples. I'm a value investor. And as I typically try to buy, not always, but I typically try to buy big companies during periods of adversity. And frankly, that's where President Trump is the Rosetta Stone of creating bargains for me. I mean, for example, his activities with monetary policy, trying to influence the Fed, his behavior internationally, means that people are diminishing the use of the U.S. dollar. So what does that mean? How do I hide from the U.S. dollar? Well, I can buy crypto, but that's not like a currency. That's a stock moving up and down. So what does that mean? It's going to push people in the direction of gold. I mean, this ain't rocket scientists. Instead of looking at what the problems are the guy's creating, look at the opportunities creating. So once he debases currency, the U.S. currency, my answer is gold. Agnico Eagle, great Canadian gold company, this year is up over 100%. And now that's not part of the index, and it's done better than a lot of the high-tech stuff, 100%. Or, wait a minute here, he's down on China. Now, he beats up people, beats up countries, then he changes his mind. So Alibaba, there's a company that traded at about a third the price of Amazon, a way bigger market and growing faster. That, since the turn of the year, is up 100%. Or Boeing aircraft. Now, Boeing aircraft, the aircraft were falling out of the skies, but Trump will not allow a showpiece company like Boeing to go up the flue. He's going to push stuff in. He's pushed in. Now they're making the F-47. 47 is the 47th president. That's the new fighter plane they have. But it's like having Boeing do this versus Northrop. It's like going to a bus company and saying, could you build me a Formula One racer? But you knew he was going to do that. So Boeing, from its low point, it's up 50% this year. So the job, I don't buy the index. I'm not interested in that. But active management, at least the way we've done it, and we have a concrete example in a real time published, we beat the index, the comparable indexes, by 50% per year, annually compounded over the last 22 years. And so that's what I do. I don't buy the market. The market provides me with opportunities or bargains, and that's it. And look for the geopolitical. Look at the political. If Trump is dominating the landscape with bizarre treatment, bizarre behavior, he's going to give me opportunities. So you got to start looking at things differently. That's my view.
Well, thank you for your insights, Tom.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. Bye for now.